The subway isn't dangerous by design, but danger doesn't always come with sirens and signs. Sometimes it hides in silence, in shadows, in cracks beneath your feet or corners you never thought to look at. Every day, millions ride America's subway systems, from New York to Chicago to DC. They tap in, move fast, and disappear into the flow. But beneath the rhythm of the underground lies something quieter. Risk. It's not about fear, it's about awareness. About moving through these spaces not with paranoia, but with precision. Because when you know what to watch for, you don't just survive the subway, you own it. So here are 8 hidden hazards waiting in US subway stations, and how to avoid them without missing a beat. 1. The handrail that lets go first. You don't notice it until it matters. A slick step, a sudden jolt, a moment where gravity betrays you, and your body lunges for the one thing it believes will hold. The handrail. Cold, solid, always there. Until it isn't. What looks like steel might be rust beneath the paint. What feels secure might shake with the weight of your grip. Some are loose from years of shifting pressure, others never properly anchored during renovations. You'd expect these flaws in aging stations, but even the gleaming modern ones hide instability behind fresh finishes and clean tile. A rail is only as trustworthy as the bolts behind the wall, and bolts don't shine. You won't get a warning. No flickering sign, no caution tape. Just a brief second where your body needs support, and the support slips away. So treat handrails with the skepticism of experience. Reach with your fingertips first, not your full trust. If it wobbles, don't test fate. Shift your balance inward. Let the wall guide you. Move with care down the center of the stairwell. Or take the elevator. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Because safety isn't always obvious. And sometimes, the most dangerous thing in the station is the one thing you're taught to trust without question. Let your instinct be sharp. Let your steps be smarter. And when the handrail fails, let it fail without you. 2. The light that should be on, but isn't. Not all shadows are created by design. Some are neglect, plain and simple. A busted bulb near an emergency exit, flickering for weeks without replacement. A corridor where half the fluorescents hum and die out, leaving patches of darkness that feel less like dimness and more like absence. A stairwell that bends around a corner, vanishing into murk like a place forgotten by the city. These aren't cinematic shadows. They don't hide drama. They hide danger, slowly, silently. Because where the light ends, clarity ends too. In that darkness, everything changes. A puddle on the floor stops reflecting and starts slipping. Cracks in the tile become invisible traps. A figure leaning quietly near the wall becomes unreadable. Friend, stranger, or threat. You won't know until it's too late. Even your own map feels different in low light. You hesitate longer, you squint harder, and hesitation in the subway isn't just inconvenient, it's unsafe. So treat poor lighting as a warning, not a nuisance. Stick to the arteries of the station, the wide stairwells, the open mezzanines, the places where light still flows freely. Let brightness guide your path, especially at night or when alone. Take the extra minute to loop around. Choose the route that feels exposed. Because in the underground, exposure isn't always vulnerability. Sometimes it's protection. And if your gut clenches as you face a dark hallway, don't ignore it. Don't try to be bold. Reroute. Turn back. Take the longer way. Your instincts are not interruptions. They are intelligence in motion. Trust the light. Trust your awareness. And most of all, trust that some shadows are meant to be avoided. 3. The wires that whisper don't touch. Exposed wires. Open panels. Emergency call boxes dangling on their hinges like afterthoughts. You'll find them near fire exits, behind stairwells, or along platform walls where most people don't bother to look, unless they're lost, or curious, or cornered. They hang there like ghosts of unfinished repairs, frayed cords snaking out from metal boxes, fuses half installed, circuit boards blinking dimly beneath layers of dust. At a glance they seem harmless, relics of maintenance long overdue. But behind the mess lies voltage, and voltage doesn't ask questions. It just answers, fast, hot, and without pause. These aren't just signs of neglect. They're reminders that even the infrastructure designed to save us is vulnerable, that even lifelines need upkeep, and when they're left exposed, they don't just fail, they become threats. So move through the station with deliberate awareness. Don't lean against the wall because you're tired. Don't brush your backpack against a junction box because space is tight. And don't assume a piece of tech is off just because it's old or dusty. Power doesn't wear a warning label, and damage doesn't always scream. If you see something sparking, buzzing, or cracked open in a place it shouldn't be, say something. Report it. Flag a transit worker. Because while you may never know what those wires control, someone should. Safety underground isn't just about what moves. Sometimes the danger waits still, quiet, humming, forgotten. And staying safe means remembering this. If it looks broken, keep your distance. If it looks powered, don't test it. And if it looks like it doesn't belong, you're probably right. 4. The floor that is not a hole, a missing tile, a warped patch of concrete where time and traffic have pressed uneven weight. A puddle that looks like water, but when your soul hits it, it slips like oil. Down here, the floor isn't just a surface, it's a variable. And sometimes it's the most overlooked hazard of all. The eye wants to scan for signs and screens, for trains and exits and moving crowds, but rarely for what's directly beneath you, until your foot catches, until your ankle rolls, until your knee folds slightly sideways and pain flashes before your next breath. It happens fast. No noise, no drama, just one sharp step that rewrites your whole day. Because underground, the floor doesn't promise consistency. Some platforms slope gently from decades of microshifts. Others buckle from moisture and wear. You'll see old stairwells where concrete has chipped away, leaving narrow ridges like teeth waiting to trip. Even clean tiles may conceal oil from machinery, residue from cleaners, or rain tracked in from the world above. So train your eyes as much as your feet. Watch the floor like you would a map. Dynamic, unpredictable, and worth reading with care. Scan near stair edges, elevator landings, and along the yellow warning strip on the platform. Pay attention to texture, color, and sheen. Sometimes a shine means danger, not polish. And if you're rushing, don't. Slow your step. Being late is inconvenient. Being injured is a liability. One misstep can turn a commute into a limp, a sprain, or worse. Walk grounded, walk aware. Because the city may move fast, but that doesn't mean you have to fall with it. 5. The puddle that wasn't supposed to be there. Water is the subway's silent enemy. It leaks where it shouldn't. It drips without rhythm. It pools with quiet patience. And once it settles on smooth tile or polished concrete, it becomes something dangerous in disguise, a reflection pretending to be safe ground. It comes from everywhere. Ceiling vents that sweat during hot summers, pipes that whisper decay behind metal grates, tunnel condensation that creeps in from the deep underground like breath. Some puddles trickle in from the street above, brought by a storm or the shuffle of wet shoes. Others emerge without warning, hidden in the corners where light doesn't reach. Or worse, smack in the middle of your path, invisible until it's already underfoot. These aren't dramatic floods. They're subtler than that. A glisten near the turnstile, a shine at the edge of a stairwell, just enough to change your traction, not enough to trigger your attention. And that's the problem. Slips don't announce themselves. There's no alarm. Just that single, off-kilter moment when your heel slides, your body shifts, and balance becomes a question instead of a certainty. It's not always a fall. Sometimes it's a wrench in the knee, a twist in the back, a near miss that shakes you more than it hurts. But it lingers. And the second time, you won't forget. So make awareness a habit. Stick to the dry path when you see one. Walk around, not through. Train your eyes to notice the unnatural sheen on the floor. That slick gloss that looks like polish, but moves like risk. Especially near escalators, elevator entrances, and older deep-cut stations where water has had decades to find its way in. And don't underestimate your shoes. If you ride daily, wear footwear with grip. Rubber soles, firm treads, the kind that hold their ground even when the floor tries to pull it away. Style doesn't matter if you're on the floor. Safety does. Because in the subway, it's not the obvious dangers that get you. It's the quiet ones. The ones that shimmer, not scream. So walk wise, walk dry. Walk like the puddle is never just water, but a moment waiting to slip your day sideways. 6. The emergency that doesn't work. We like to believe that help is always nearby, that the phone box works, that the fire extinguisher is full, that someone checked the panel last week. But sometimes the emergency is as broken as the thing it was built to fix. You press the intercom and hear nothing. You reach for the extinguisher and find an empty shell. Know your exits. Scan for what's functional. And carry small redundancies, a whistle, a power bank, even just a charged phone. Self-reliance isn't cynicism, it's survival. 7. The gap that grows without warning. Not all trains hug the platform. In some stations, the gap between car and edge is wider than it looks, especially on curves, older lines, or mismatched infrastructure. It doesn't look like much, but it's enough for a foot to miss, a bag to slip, a stroller wheel to catch. Mind the gap, literally. Step firmly, lift your baggage, and never rush onto a train that's already about to leave. Timing isn't worth tumbling. 8. The escalator that pretends to work. It hums, it moves, but inside its teeth grinding on steel. Escalators in older stations are prone to jerks, stops, sudden slips, and sharp metal edges that haven't been sanded down in decades. And when it fails fast. Hold the rail lightly, never lean hard. Step on with awareness. And if it looks sketchy, use the stairs. The inconvenience is better than a fall. A final word before the next ride. Hazards don't always look like hazards. That's what makes them dangerous. But the subway doesn't need to feel like a trap. When you ride with awareness, you ride with confidence. You move like you belong, not just above ground, but beneath it. Because knowing where to stand, what to avoid, and how to move isn't fear. It's fluency. And fluent riders don't just commute, they flow. So next time you descend those stairs, don't just follow the crowd. Watch your step, keep your rhythm, and ride smart.